Good day to you, folks of YouTube. I am your host, Vert343, finally back from getting higher than a kite on adrenaline in Doom Eternal to bring you another theory. Cheesy intro aside, I'm here today to talk about who exactly the Seraphim is, and the answer may or may not surprise you. Also, spoiler warning for a lot of Doom Eternal. If you haven't played the game yet, go do that before you watch this video. So obviously, the Seraphim is a very important character. Although we've only seen him once, he is one of the reasons that the Doomslayer is literally death incarnate. The Seraphim granted the Slayer terrible power and speed, as per the Codex in Doom 2016. Of course, Doom Eternal elaborated on this just a little bit more, to fierce speed and power to match his will. If I know anything about the Doomslayer, I know that his will is pretty damn strong. Well, strong enough to get him, a lone human, through the forces of hell with just a suit of slightly shoddy armor and a super shotgun, which is pretty impressive to say the least. The one time we saw the Seraphim, we saw him wearing a robe, which although covering most of his body still left enough visible to us to give us a clue of where he came from, specifically that he is a maker. This is backed up by the Codex, which says that the Seraphim was Samur, Chancellor to the Mother God. The Mother God being none other than the Khan Maker, of course. After this, the Seraphim just disappeared. Literally, the Codex says he disappeared from Urdak not too long after creating the Slayer, and that the thing known as the Father disappeared around the same time. Of course, I have to note that the Codex never directly states that VEGA is the Father, or that the Father was even with the Seraphim, just that they disappeared around the same time and that it can be inferred from that they did go together. So, he has to be somewhere, right? But where? Well, we don't really have that much of a lead, but we can start with the fact that Urdak welcomes the Slayer as the Seraphim. Of course, the Seraphim was the previous advisor to the Khan Maker, so welcoming the Slayer as the Seraphim should be important to figuring out where the Seraphim is. Atop this, the ritual that occurred in the Divinity Machine to turn the Doom Guy into the Doom Slayer is referenced as a transfusion in the 9th Codex entry about Sentinel history. So, does that make the Doom Slayer one and the same as the Seraphim? Well, of course they aren't specifically the same personality at any given point. The Doom Guy is obviously in control personality-wise of the Doom Slayer. So could the Seraphim have combined himself with the Slayer to make him more powerful? Maybe, but it just doesn't sound quite right. Because how the hell does an entity that is literally part of a building escape without a physical form? Especially since the Doomslayer is human in form and only went to Urdak at the time of Doom Eternal, and the Seraphim supposedly disappeared from Urdak, not Argentia. A line that VEGA said in the Urdak level of the game completely stumped me. He asked if he was the Father. The Father was supposedly an entity, not an AI. This means that if VEGA is the Father, then he is truly sentient and has a soul, while if not, he can't be the Father. But here's the thing with that. If VEGA is the Father, then how the hell did Samuel Hayden get him? Well, there's an obvious answer to that. Could Samuel Hayden be Samur Maker, aka the Seraphim? Obviously, they have very similar names. Samur is pretty damn close to Samuel, and Hayden literally means heathen of fire. Heathen meaning religious outcast. Google tells me that spiritually, fire can mean both creation and destruction. Outcast of creation and destruction. That seems pretty fitting to the Seraphim as he created the Slayer, causing the destruction of the Khan Maker and possibly even the entire Maker society. Beyond this, in Doom Eternal, Samuel seems to have supernatural levels of knowledge about things outside the scope of human society, such as the inner workings of hell, the history of the Night Sentinels, and even the inner workings of the Maker society. Samuel also shares a line with the Seraphim. That line, of course, is, "It's a gift. Take it. It will give you strength. Help you in your journey." Oddly enough, both of these lines are in relation to very similar things, one being the Divinity Machine and the other being towards Argent Energy, both of which are things that kept the Slayer atop his demon-murdering game. Okay, on second thought, they're not really that similar, but they are linked. Though none of these things are really proof that the Seraphim is Samuel Hayden. Sure, the name is a good reference, there is a shared line and Samuel knows things that he really shouldn't. But that doesn't really mean anything, and the excessive knowledge could just be from old demonic tablets and the databases aboard the Fortress of Doom. But there is a single piece of definitive, undeniable proof that not only is Samuel the Seraphim, but that he is most definitely a maker. Or at least was at one point. Samuel Hayden knows what Urdak looks like and has seen it before. He also isn't even stunned by the view. Yep, that's it, but there is a reason that this little piece of knowledge is important. No human, sentinel, or demon had ever been to Urdak before the deceased icon of sin and the Slayer himself. So how in the name of all that is hellish would Samuel Hayden, a human, have known what Urdak looks like if he hadn't been there? Note, at no point are we shown competent photographic technology in possession of either the Night Sentinels or the Maker Angels. So that's it. Samuel Hayden is Sama Maker, the Seraphim, and he is the one who created the Doomslayer originally. If you have enjoyed this video, please like, comment, tell me what I could improve on, subscribe, and maybe hit that notification bell if you're feeling extra generous. Because I have been your host, Vert343, and unfortunately it is time for me to sign off. I will see you in the next video. Peace out, gentlemen.